Government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
Now the Ukraine, and St. Patrick's name is now Zelensky.
What do we do now? Look, here's just some of what this investment will do. First, thanks to Ron Wyden and Jeff Merkley and Earl, excuse me. I know. You can call me Biden. Joe Biden.
Back to them, or do you want to stay with Donald Trump?
Fuck Joe Biden.
Welcome back to another night of Stick with Koolfrogg. I do have AmericaShirts with me. How's it going, man?
Yo-ho. How's it going?
Pretty good. We're just reading the paper. We're just going to go through a bunch of different random oddities of things that have happened in the last day. Seems to be there's an awful lot of strangeness that's going on. Nothing normal or out of the normal from any other day, I guess. Yeah, well, you know, it's just everything's weird. I've had a really strange, odd day. Like long, not tiring, just a long day. And actually made it outside for a little bit, so I'm, you know, kind of happy. Right? It actually was fairly nice up here. I was kind of surprised.
Well, you live in the tundra. No, I'm just kidding.
You know, I mean, you know, when you live up, you know, towards the cities, in you know, it really is, you know, super north compared to the rest of the United States, and it can get very cold.
Because Alaska doesn't count, right?
No, it doesn't, because it's not attached to the other 48 states.
Koolfrogg's like, we should just go back to 48 states.
Well,
those people.
I mean, I might be okay with 52.
52?
Well, you know, it's a thought. You know, they've actually thought about, you know, making, you know, Cuba a state.
Oh, well, that was back.
Yeah, well, that was back then,
when.
and now they're thinking, you know, Washington, D.C., you know, so it's like, you know, take one or the other. Oh, wait, you have to do both. You can't just do one.
Oh, you mean Puerto Rico?
Oh, yeah, well, what the hell ever.
I mean,
same
Fidel
difference.
Castro's communist hellhole and Puerto Rico is a little bit different.
You know, I can't always be on top of everything. It's,
You know, Justin Trudeau's dad, you know, Fidel Castro.
yeah.
Allegedly, of course.
So, what do we... I don't know if you looked through any of the stuff that I had actually put up and shut up.
I did some, yes.
You did some? Okay. I don't know where I want to start. If I just want to go right off of the... Let's just go with the Minnesota news. We'll go with the Star Tribune has an article about a judge overseeing the civil rights case and accepts a plea deal for Derek Chauvin. We'll start there, I guess. Again, this is my local paper. This is the Star Tribune out of Minnesota. Yes, the article is out of the Associated Press. You can see where the Star Tribune actually gets their information from. You know, so most likely you could actually find this particular article in any other leftist newspaper. He looks like crap. Why did they do that? Why did they they like woke him up and said, let's go take a picture. Hurry up.
Yeah, probably.
So it says the judge overseeing the federal civil rights case of 4 Minneapolis police officers in the killing of George Floyd said Wednesday that he was accepted the terms of Derek Chauvin's plea agreement and will sentence him to 20 to 25 years in prison. Now, this isn't additional time. This is the state of Minnesota. We've covered this before. The state of Minnesota is concurrent. So it's going to be run right alongside the other 20 years that he already has. So no time extension whatsoever. It's going to be, it's going to be, well, even if they give him the maximum 25, that's what he's got now out of the state. So the federal government's going to jump in. They're going to be like, oh, here, let's do this. And Minnesota's going to say, okay, that's fine. We'll do another 25. But it's concurrent, so this is going to get it run right alongside the other 25, and he'll be out in 5. Well, I suppose it's, 23 now? I mean, he's been sitting for a few years. Has he not? Since 2020?
So 2, yeah.
Yeah, he's been sitting for 2 years, so he's got another, 23 to go. So I mean, when you think about it, oh, look at that. I'm not even paying attention. Is my YouTube even working?
Yeah.
I'm just like going off, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, the tubes are working.
Okay. Gotta set some age restrictions on it, so that way it's actually viewable.
Oh.
There you go. Yeah, nice, thanks.
I think the tubes are working, right? The comment section's working pretty well.
Comment section is working. Thank you very much.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
America's shirts are fluffer. Chauvin pleaded guilty December 15th to violating Floyd's civil rights, admitting for the first time that he kept his knee on Floyd's neck even after he became unresponsive, resulting in the black man's death on May 25th, 2020. The white former officer admitted he willfully deprived Floyd of his rights to be free from unreasonable seizure, including unreasonable force by police officer. Under the plea agreement, which Chauvin signed, both sides agreed Chauvin should face a sentence ranging from 20 to 25 years, with prosecutors saying that they would seek 25. He could have faced life in prison on the federal count. With credit for good time on the federal system, he would serve from 17 to 21 years and 3 months behind bars. It doesn't go that way. That's not how it works. It actually goes off of the state first. And state of Minnesota is 2/3 time. I don't think he's sitting for 22. I don't think he's sitting even close to the 17. You got to do some thinking, a little bit of critical thinking before you go and you just go and spew some bile. U.S. District Judge Paul Magnuson deferred accepting the agreement pending in the completion of the persistent investigation. He said that one-page order Wednesday that the report had been issued, so it was now appropriate to accept the deal. He has not set a sentencing date for Chauvin. Chauvin is already serving 22 and a half for the sentence. He's already got 2 years in. 22 and a half years sentence for the murder and conviction of the state court last year. Though he is appealing the conviction, he would serve the federal sentence concurrently with the state sentence. There's the concurrent. And that's what I'm saying. It's going to be run right alongside of it. It's not going to be additional 20, 25 years. It's only going to be until he's done. It's not going to be 22 and a half years either, because he's already got 2 in. The federal plea deal means Chauvin will probably spend more time in prison than he faced under the state sentence. Nope, wrong. State prisoners in Minnesota typically serve 1/3 of their sentence on parole. And yeah, that's the third, because they sit the first 2, which for him would mean 15 years in prison. That's exactly what I'm saying. Is when you actually look at it, you have to actually look at all of it. You can't just go and be like, oh, he's getting 25 years, yeah. Because it's not what it's going to be. Not even close. He's an ex-officer. I'm sure he knows somebody that's in that jail. Somehow, someway, he's probably got a cushy cell. He's never going to get bothered by anybody else that's sitting in that jail, no matter what. He's probably got detail where he can actually go do either laundry or food, what, or anything. I'm sure he's got something, because he was an ex-officer. Regardless to what he did, you can't just be like, oh yeah, he's an ex-officer. He should sit and rot and mold for the rest of his life. Gonna happen. Magnuson also has not set sentencing dates for 3 other ex-officers who were convicted in related federal civil rights charges in February. The persistent investigations of Tu Tao, Thomas Lane, and J. Alexander King are still underway. They're scheduled to go on trial next month in state court on charges of aiding and abetting Chauvin in Floyd's murder. So they're going to do a state trial. They're not even whatever. I thought did they already do the federal charges for these 3?
I think the only thing that they did. Wait, what?
I thought they did federal sentences on these guys already, if I'm not mistaken.
On the state charges, it says, right?
Right.
Yeah,
it says
because they were
charges.
going to. That's right, because they were going to take it. I'm pretty sure somebody was going to appeal something to federal level, weren't they?
I mean, they all were getting charged with, federal charges or whatever because, they violated his human rights. So, I mean, they were all going to go to federal charges eventually anyway.
Was it like federal appeals court or something? Like, I don't.
Yeah, I'm not positive on all that.
I have to go back and. But anyway.
Right. So then, prosecutors revealed at a pretrial hearing last month that the 3 had rejected plea agreements with the state on the state charges. Terms are not disclosed. Lane's attorney, Earl Gray, said it was hard. Earl Gray's the old man that was the on the other the other officer that the taser lady. He was her attorney. Said it was hard for the defense to negotiate when the 3 still didn't know what their federal sentences would be. On Wednesday, Gray renewed his motions for the change of venue and for postponing the trial until after the federal sentencings, or even until next year. He wrote that it's abundantly clear from questionnaires returned by prospective jurors that a fair and impartial jury for the trial can never be seated in Hennepin County, which is Minneapolis, which includes Minneapolis because of the public hatred of the defendants. Hennepin County is a fairly large county, very, very blue county, and yeah, they're totally going to go against anything or whatever because it is what it is. Though, I mean, you're not going to get nobody in this that's done anything in Minneapolis is ever going to get a fair trial because the people that are in that county are just horrible people. It's like the horrible, like, kind of conjugate together in large groups. It's clear that the vast majority of the Hennepin County community has a deep embittered prejudice against the police officer defendants in this case. Not just this case. That was a statement from Gray. It's not just this case. Is it anything that happens in Hennepin County that has anything to do with, anybody? Because even if you watch the taser lady and the stuff that happened with hers or whatever, it was all in Hennepin County. And nobody gets a fair jury trial out of Hennepin County when it comes to a cop. Because they're not going to do it. And, that's the article, really. I mean, it really doesn't go into a lot of depth. It just pretty much is, when it comes down to saying that they're postponing due to public hatred up to possibly next year. So if they just keep on postponing it, I would hope that these three, if they're actually going to get jail time, are already sitting, so that their time is already being counted. Otherwise, if they're not, their time is not being counted until they actually a jail somewhere, which can be anywhere or whatever, and it would add itself up. I would almost think that they're probably sitting somewhere. I really don't know. So that was that. It's just going to be a short night. This is not going to be some long, drawn-out 3-4 hour thing. I'm not expecting it to be anyway. There is some interesting stuff that's going to come up here, whatever, that we will talk about, but... And of course, everything seems to be associated with the Associated Press, because, the Associated Press has to have something to say about everything. No leftist newspaper is going to do their own writing of anything, because they have to make sure that they comply with everybody else's bullcrap. So this is Donald Trump Jr. speaks with the January 6th committee. President's son is one of the nearly 1,000 witnesses the committee has interviewed as it works to compile a record of the Capitol attack. Come on. Thousands of witnesses, and you can't tell me that they're still effing around with this a couple years later. Really? Stop it. The oldest son of former President Donald Trump has met with the congressional committee investigating the January 6, 2021 insurrection in the U.S. Capitol, according to two people familiar with the matter. The interview, Tuesday, with Donald Trump Jr., comes with the bipartisan House committee moves closer to the former president's inner circle of family members and political advisors. The younger Trump is of likely interest to the committee because of his proximity to his father on the day of the riot. Donald Trump Jr. is seen backstage in the rally in the White House ellipse and took place shortly before supporters and then President marched to the Capitol and breached the building. We've gone through this. We've talked about this several times. Stop lying. If you keep on telling lies, it does not eventually make it the truth. We've heard this stuff. We know what's going on. I'm not disputing it. I'm not disputing it at all. Because, Joe Biden is the most legitimate president ever with the most votes. Not disputing that. Not at all. But this and sitting there pushing lies over and over again is not worth it. In several social media videos posted in the time of the 6th attack, Trump Jr. was seen with Kimberly Guilfoyle, his then girlfriend, now his fiancée, and other members of the family, as his father prepared to make a speech that investigators believe rallied supporters to act violently that day. Stop it. The House committee has also released text messages from January 6 in which Trump Jr. pleaded with the White House to get his father to forcibly condemn the riot. We need an Oval address. He has to lead now It has gone too far and gotten out of hand, Trump Jr. wrote to then White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. So, I mean, these are old quotes. Why aren't they telling us something new? Like what happened in the interview? Trump Jr. is one of nearly 1,000 witnesses that committee has interviewed. His works to compile a record of the worst attack in the Capitol in more than 2 centuries.
Oh my God, kill me. Just kill me.
This is Associated Press, you know. So you know this is the truth.
More like an ass pain is what the AP stands for. Pain in my ass. My God. Like, you have freaking Weather Underground lefty hacks from the 60s literally blowing up bombs in the building and collapsing rooms. But, like, what the hell? Someone walks into Nancy Pelosi's office and takes a picture and goes, wow, this place smells a hell of a lot like vodka. No one light a match. And they all get arrested. For life. But what the hell? Oh, and then, you know, one of the people that tried to head up the Weather Underground and stuff like that, what the hell was her name? I forget. Bill Clinton let her out, and she was helping to, you know, do things and organize with BLM.
Oh, that lady.
Yes.
Yeah, that lady.
That one.
Uh-huh.
But hey, that's fine. She can go free. What the hell? Who cares? You know,
Well,
like all
because
these people
she's
just, you know.
on the other side. She's on the
yes,
other
right.
side of the realm, and that's why. She's, as long as you sit on that side or whatever, and you comply with what they have to say, you're going to be able to do whatever you want. Does she still work for the government?
I didn't
I
think
believe this lady actually got a position somehow somewhere, and actually works for the United States government, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember the
Maybe
lady's name.
advisor
I'd
or
have to look it
something.
up
I
and
don't-
actually do something right. I don't remember what it was, but I thought there was something where that lady actually got a position with the government, which is kind of scary in itself when you think about it. Let's see here. Trump Jr. was nearly 1,000 witnesses in the committee that interviewed his workers compile records of the worst attack on the Capitol in more than 2 centuries. He is the second of the Trump's children known to speak to the committee. Sister Ivanka sat down with lawmakers for 8 hours in early April. Her husband, Jared Kushner, has also been interviewed by the committee. Other allies of the former president have defied subpoenas from the committee and have been referred to the Justice Department for potential prosecution on contempt of Congress charges. One of them, Steve Bannon, has indicated last year after he refused to cooperate. That case is pending. The committee of 7 Democrats and 2 Republicans, 7 Democrats and 2 rhinos, is looking to wrap up its nearly 11-month investigation and shift into a public hearing phase. Hearings are set to begin June 9th. That's exciting. That might be something to actually be paying attention to and listening to in depth. And will go on for about 4 weeks. So we're in May, right? So this is going to happen in a month. A month and 4 days, this will be up. And there's going to be some interesting stuff that's going to happen. I know dang well there will be. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be wondering what's exactly happening from all realms. Everybody's going to be looking at this. Lawmakers expect to bring out witnesses and present evidence in an effort to educate the public on a full scope of the attack and Donald Trump's role in it. Trump Jr. is no stranger to congressional investigations, having testified at least 3 times in House and Senate investigations of interference in the 2016. The 2 people who confirmed Trump Jr.'s interview on the January 6th committee were granted, I can't say this word, anonymity, to discuss the private session, which has not announced or was not announced by the committee. Yeah, see, you can see Associated Press writer Farnoosh Amari contributed to this report. So I mean, it's a ridiculous report with a bunch of leftist talking points and no context on what was actually said from Trump Jr. to the committee, or vice versa. Why? Why aren't we being told of what's being said? What are they hiding?
Well, they're hiding everything. They have to, at this point.
Right. They have no choice but to hide everything. I'm just going to kind of glance here real quick and see if there's any good comments.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I bet he really spilled the beans on Dad. What a joke. They've got squat. Everyone knows it. By the way, if President Trump wanted an insurrection, why did he offer to call out the National Guard for security ahead of time? Good grief, some people can't think. This guy, I like this guy. Trump is guilty as hell, and everyone in the world knows it. But his sheep, well, you can call people sheep, or you can actually look at who is actually the sheep.
Yeah, yes, I was about to say, says the actual sheep. It just repeats whatever the hell Mr. Potato Head at CNN wants to tell you. Brian Stelter, a.k.a. It the Clown from the horror movie, right? Like...
Said to have a clear view of the Capitol, the Thomas Jefferson statue will be subpoenaed. Liz Cheney stated that the record that Thomas Jefferson statue is a reliable witness. Oh, that's funny. Most Minneapolis rioters were set free and all received due process. Over 700 D.C. rioters were tracked by day of video and cell phone activity, often arrested by SWAT teams placed in solitary confinement. Spelled the word wrong. Spent 6 months and 1 year in jail waiting for trial, no bail, and charges ranging from obstruction of an official proceeding to assault.
Well, no, actually, most of them are just trespassing, as far as I'm aware.
That's what I was thinking. I thought it was mainly a trespassing thing. The only ones that caught extra charges are the ones that they actually seen trying to take things.
Which is shocking in and of itself. They didn't overcharge those people, because they overcharged some people over in the Emmerich Jones area of things at his workplace there in Texas. The people that work there that went there, DC, they overcharged those people. Suburb Carl, don't forget, the nation's seat in democracy and attempt to forestall the peaceful transfer of power is completely different than rioting in Minneapolis. It can be totally different, but the thing is we don't live in a democracy. We live in a constitutional republic. And
so,
there
say
is...
what you want. Go ahead.
Well, there is a difference in that, what did he say? Trying to attempt to forestall the peaceful transfer of power? I mean, I don't know. How about, freaking trying to make it impossible for either you're afraid to go vote because somebody's going to go after you, or, let's just create this giant, huge, terroristic, culture, or what do I want to say? This terroristic atmosphere in this country for the 2020 elections, and then have a bunch of billionaires come in and pay for drop boxes and things, and there's totally not anything obstructionatory about anything revolving that. That's fortification, according to Time magazine. That's and then when people are there protesting, going, hey, let's ask some questions here, maybe we should delay some things for a little bit, then that's I mean we just live in a different reality. This person lives in a different world, in the world that Mr. Potato Head tells him to. Again, remember, don't do your own research, folks. CNN tells you, don't do your own research. Just
Right.
listen
Just
to
listen to
authoritative
what the
sources.
Associated Press has to say. So this one, this just for all. There's no E, so he doesn't get it pronounced right either. He seems to have comments for almost everybody.
Because he's an asshole.
Yeah, because he's one of those that just so happens to have some kind of something to say. So this is, how long did it take to clear out the heaping piles of BS after Junior was done? I sure hope he is under oath, so if proven he lied, he is prosecuted also. Justic says, can't nail him on 300 I don't recalls. Is that what he said? Did you see this? Because if you've seen this footage of him actually being questioned, I'd love to see that. So that way I'm not, spreading quote unquote information that isn't the same as yours.
Trust me, the disinformation board there, or bureau, or whatever the hell it is, the Ministry of Truth shall tell us what the truth of the matter is, even though nobody else knows other than the people in the room. The Ministry of Truth will tell us what to think about it. And of course, the media thereafter, of course, will tell everybody what to think about it, of course, like they always do. But it'll just be a little more official with that new government agency in place. So there you go.
So this person is another person that said, I wonder if he lied under oath and then committed perjury or whatever. So the two words strung together that were truthful, and it says the answer is 0. The person says, why do you think you know that? Yes, Biden lies all the time. Biden is old and forgetful. Trump is lying. Go hand in hand. Nope, they're nothing alike. Go back and look at the 50 years of bullshit that Biden has done, and look at the 4 years of stuff that Trump has done, and try again. Pepper J.
Well, these comments probably go on forever. But,
I'm going to stop. I'm going to move on here. I don't know what that now 55-0. Common sense ever prevail, and Trump is dropped like a hot potato. I guess I know the answer is that. P.T. Barnum was dead on accurate when it comes to the Trump fan base. Why? What did P.T. Barnum have to say? I don't believe it. I just don't. Okay. So that was that. I mean, a lot of the stuff is kind of similar, relevant to each other. It has a lot to do with one particular person. I don't know why. It just seems to be that's what was coming up today. So this website, this is Fight with Cash. This is Cash Patel's website. It looks like the source is from the Washington Examiner, written by Jerry Dunleavy. This is Dossier author Christopher Steele looms large over Durham trial. So this is Christopher Steele looms large over John Durham's trial against Michael Sussman, and the special counsel says that the Dossier author is at the intersection of Trump-Russia collusion efforts, while the Democratic lawyer calls the evidence about him an unfair lightning rod. I'm not questioning anything to do with Trump and his whatever he did or didn't do, and I'm not questioning anything to go along with his election.
Yes,
Joe
Trump-
Biden is the most legitimate president ever.
Yes, Hillary should have won 2016. Trump likes to sleep in a bed full of pee, and Joe Biden is the most legitimate potato to have ever been elected president of the United States, or ever at all in the history of ever.
Right. We're
I
just
love Bill
reading.
Gates. I love Hillary Clinton. I think we covered most of those things.
Yes, and I love Nancy Pelosi as well. She's just the best.
Oh yeah, can't forget about that. And I mean, and her visit to St. Patrick this past week was just tremendous. Oh my God, I cried when I saw it. It was just beautiful.
So Sussman was indicted in September for allegedly concealing his clients, Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign and tech executive one, Rodney Jolf, from FBI General Counsel James Baker in September 2016 when he presented internet data that suggested a now discredited back-channel link between the Trump Organization and Russia's Alpha Bank. He has pleaded not guilty. As he should, because just because you came up with something and said that's what you wanted to say, I want to see proof. I want to see proof on all of this shit. You sit there spreading, lies or telling the truth, regardless to however it is, without showing us the exact whateverness. You're gonna have so many people that are not gonna believe anything that comes out of your mouth.
Hold on, Koolfrogg. I'll be right back. I'll have to be AFK for a minute.
Okay. So while he's gone, don't forget to subscribe, share, like, ring the bell, do all that fun stuff. When you ring the bell, make sure you hold on the button for a few seconds and click all. That way you get all of the stuff that comes from us. Don't forget to actually check out AmericaShirtsAreFirst.com, the most based shirts on the planet. You can use a promo code Koolfrogg, that's KOOLFROGG, and you can actually get 15% off anything in a store. Check out his Rumble channel, that's AmericaShirts, capital A, capital S, same way you see it on the screen here. And check him out. He's got some stuff on there that we can't actually talk about on the YouTube side. I really don't know if I'm going to, the stuff that we're talking about now could possibly be okay. Just because, we are telling you that, we don't necessarily believe what this says. We're just reading it because we're interested in what's actually going on and what's happening. I'm going to kind of move on here a little bit without him, which should be okay. I'm sure he can kind of catch up here or whatever. So it says his lawyer, Sean Berkowitz, spoke with Steele during Wednesday's court hearing, arguing that invoking even his name is a lightning rod, and that even the implications of Mr. Steele's name we think would be unduly prejudicial. Just saying his name is invoking a lightning rod? That's kind of an interesting ordeal. That could actually kind of... maybe that'll bring some followers while you all come in here to check this out and you see what was actually said. You hit the subscription button. Durham prosecutors Andrew D. Philippus said Steele is on a government's witness list, but is unlikely to testify because he is overseas. He said the prosecution would likely only introduce limited evidence on Steele, but repeatedly pointed to the strong intersection of Steele's efforts and the Alpha Bank's effort. He said Sussman met with Steele in the summer of 2016, and then Steele was immediately tasked with the opposition research firm Fusion GPS with researching Alpha Bank, which he did. Steele is best known for his discredited anti-Trump dossier, which Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz concluded in December 2019 played a central and essential role in the FBI's effort to obtain wiretap orders against former Trump campaign associate Carter Page. Steele created his now discredited Dossier after being hired by Fusion, which was itself hired by Perkins Coie and Mark Elias, the general counsel of Clinton's campaign. Sussman worked for Perkins at the time too, and both he and Elias met with Steele in 2016. Why would they meet with him in 2016? It's so long ago, and why are we still talking about this? Oh, because you keep on talking about it. You keep on bringing it up, and you keep on thinking that something happened, which obviously it did. Something happened. We just don't know what, because you're being very unclear about what happened and what is actually now being said. I sure hope that whatever's coming up here soon, on what was it, the 9th of June or whatever, that we actually hear a lot of information that we need to hear and not some rigged testimony. D. Phillips said Wednesday that Sussman's meeting with Steele was incredibly probative and relevant because the meeting shows that Sussman was integrated with the broader effort. He said the prosecution's goal is to show the intersection between Mr. Steele's effort and the Russian bank. Berkowitz argued conversely that Sussman had a relatively innocuous conversation with Steele and that he doesn't recall ever seeing Steele again. The defense argued there is no evidence that Mr. Sussman knew what Mr. Steele was doing, and lamented that this would become a trial within a trial about what Mr. Steele was doing and how he was acting. Because, that's what matters, as opposed to just, going after one person for doing something stupid. Let's go after everybody that we just want to name because we're like, well, that had something to do with it. And I don't want to get in trouble, so I'm going to go and I'm going to put your name in there. Sussman's lawyer asked a federal judge last month to exclude evidence of Christopher Steele in the information he separately provided to the FBI, including the so-called Steele dossier. It's now so-called. It's not even something that's actually real. It's just so-called. The defense team argued the single false statement charge brought against Mr. Sussman surely does not flow with the gathering of data. The accuracy of that data, the accuracy of the conclusions based on that data, or any information Mr. Steele may have provided to the FBI. The lawyers argued Sussman did not have any awareness that Steele was separately providing information to the FBI. He had no clue that any of this was happening, no awareness at all. Did you work for the FBI? Are you sure you worked for the FBI? Durham said Joff also began tasking employees and associates with mining and assembling internet data that would support the inference or narrative tying Trump to Russia, with the tech executive stating in emails that the goal was to please VIPs, apparently referring to Sussman, Elias, and the Clinton campaign. A special counsel referred to this as a joint venture last month and laid out evidence that Sussman took further steps to integrate the Russian Bank One related allegations into the Clinton campaign's opposition research efforts, which included details about Steele. The special counsel wrote, although the defendant testified before Congress that the purpose of the 2016 meeting was to vet UK person one. They're not even naming people. They're just bank one, UK person one. What? Why can't we know these names? Why are they being withheld? Because is there even a name? Is there even a physical person, or are you just making up something so that it makes it sound good? UK person one for the Clinton campaign, given the defendant's knowledge of the national security matters. UK person one was testified under oath in the UK that during the meeting, the defendant told him that the meeting about the Russian Bank One allegations. So, I mean, we're just, going off of some fictitious naming UK person one. I mean, in the States we call him John Doe or Jane Doe or whatever. You give them some generic name, UK person one. Doesn't even sound like a person. Russian Bank One. It's not a bank. Horowitz criticized the FBI in his December 2019 report for 17 significant errors or omissions, including a reliance of Steele's discredited dossier. You back?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought I heard. So, I mean, I kind of moved on a little bit. I shilled this out a little bit, and then I moved on. Steele pushed the claim that Alpha Bank was a secret conduit between Trump's campaign manager, Paul Manafort, and the Kremlin during the early October 2016 meeting with State Department figures Jonathan Winter and Kathleen Kavalik. Steele also told DOJ officials Bruce Orr in late September 2016 that the Alpha Bank server was a link to the Trump campaign. Are you sure? Are you just making more things up like you did with UK person one and Russian bank one? To me, it doesn't sound like these businesses are legit. It sounds like you're just making crap up. I really don't know. My brain's thinking, because that's what it does. Steele's alleged main source, Igor Danchenko, was charged with 5 counts of making false statements to the FBI, which Durham says he made about the information he provided to Steele for the dossier. Horowitz said, Flufferfrog, come on, Grim. You're better than that. Horowitz said FBI interviews that Danchenko raised significant questions about the reliability of the Steele election reporting and concluded Danchenko contradicted the allegations of the well-developed conspiracy in Steele's dossier. The Clinton campaign and Democratic National Committee were recently fined by the FBI over their financial filings related to the Fusion GPS, which Durham pointed out this week. Steele continues to defend his dossier. The FBI, the CIA, and Special Counsel Robert Mueller, a bipartisan Senate Intelligence Committee investigation, and the Durham's team have all cast doubt on or shot down the Alpha Bank claims. This article originally appeared in the Washington Examiner. One person's comment, we need a motivated AG to prosecute all this, and unfortunately we have sour grapes. Left-wing nut job Garland, so I'm not expecting much. Very, very awesome comment, because that's pretty much what's going to happen. He's not expecting much to actually happen because they don't have much. They don't have much to go on. If they had enough to go on, in 2022, we would not still be talking about it. This happened back in 2016. But the refusal to just move on 6 years later, it's just stupid. Just, for lack of better words, retarded.
Oh, he said the R word.
I did. I said the R word with a hard R. That's just my personal opinions. I'm not trying to say somebody is. I said the thought.
You're not allowed to have
after 6 years.
opinions,
I know.
You know.
Well,
You're not
well,
allowed to have those things.
we all deserve to have our own opinions.
No, you don't. What? Who?
So this
Oh,
next
I
one.
forgot my lefty hat is still on. God damn it.
Take your hat off, dude.
Take it. Sorry. It's like it
So
picks up a signal, I think, sometimes, just like interferes with my brainwaves.
Get the foil on now?
Yes, I'm marching around my house with foil.
You and your brother walking around with foil on your heads?
I have a brother.
I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows anything. So, this thing looks like it was dated March 27th of 2022. It says Obama in trouble as Durham receives 130,000 new documents. Holy man, really? 130,000 new documents?
I mean, and here's the thing with Durham. It's like, he should have been doing this. I don't know, like try 2020. It's not until after the election, and then he's like, slowly but surely, all these things are coming out. And I happen to agree with Robert Barnes' opinion on this. I don't think that Durham is as good of an actor as I think it's going to be. Because if you read a lot of the stuff that he's putting out, it's like, oh, okay, these people did X, Y, and Z, but it doesn't fit the bill for this or that crime or this thing or whatever. So like, oh no, we can't prosecute. So something along the lines of that, where it's like, and if it is prosecuted, like if they can prosecute, it's somebody who's, like a Hillary Clinton aide person off to the side, or one other person off to the side, or they'll like nab some other person who's, oh gee, he's like caught up with the whole thing, and he was there on the computer typing something in or whatever. I don't know. I'm just theorizing here for a second, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they just like throw it. They just throw it. Well, not theorizing. I'm summarizing something. Putting out an example, so you get the drift, right? So I don't have to go through and like read over everything again. But they'll just go after a couple of different people. They won't actually go off and be like, oh no, Hillary Clinton needs to be charged, or like this person who's high up needs to be charged. They'll always go after someone else who's a little guy, a little person here or there or whatever. They won't actually go after the big cojones. Like they won't go after anything super large. He doesn't do that in any of these things. He just kind of recognizes, oh yeah, from the Hillary camp over there, she did screwy stuff, but she's not going to get charged. But like an aide person or a person who was there working, or a lawyer or whoever, like they're going to get charged. This person's going to get charged here or whatever. So it'll be the same thing with this. And it's just basically, in my opinion anyway, and again, I share Robert Barnes's opinion on this as well, that it's just kind of like, he's just kind of like a cover job guy. He's just there to, okay, sure, yeah, there was bad stuff going on. It's pretty obvious. We all know that. So that was the guy that did it. Go get him. Hillary, she can run in 2024. That's fine. Right? Like, she just initiated or helped to initiate along
Sounds like
with
that's what she's
Obama.
going to do. So,
well, right, exactly. It's like, how is she even remotely qualified? All of her and all the people and everything else. I mean, look at the WikiLeaks documents too. I mean, like, everything points to her completely finagling with just about everything, trying to finagle with everything in 2016 and thereafter. And her and Obama are here with Big Mike at his side.
So
I mean,
you know, and I'm with you on this, and so then my brain kind of went to the point of if Hillary's gonna run, and Joe Biden says that he's gonna run, they're just gonna split the votes. Go ahead. Both of you go ahead, run.
Joe
Put both your names on the damn freaking. Both of your names on there, right along with Trump's, and let's see what happens. Go ahead, screw it up.
Joe Biden's not going to be around for 2024. They're going to have to off him. That's my prediction. That's been my prediction for a while. They're going to have to off him at some point, and now here we are in the midterms. It's like, okay, here before or after or somewhere around there, I think they're going to try to off him, do something like that, do something crazy like that, and throw Kamala in there for the next 2 years, claim she's black, he can't say anything bad against her, but because she has such a bad popularity, it's even worse. Her poll numbers are even worse than Joe Biden's, or popularity numbers are even worse than Joe Biden's. They can't run her in 2024. So they'll just use her for 2 years, claim she's black, he can't do anything about it, and then they'll have, like, I don't know, Hillary or Oprah or Big Mike or Elizabeth Warren come back in 2024 for some damn thing. That's kind of my prediction about how things probably will end up working themselves out there. That's just my humble opinion on it.
I mean,
But
my opinion is they should just wipe them all out, take them all out, and you start over again with brand new people everywhere. Just take all of them out.
well, I mean, sure, but
I'm sick of them. I mean, obviously that's not going to happen, but you know, I mean, the thought behind it is very relevant when you think about it, because you're like, everybody else is horse shit on all sides. Just sick of the crap, and just we need somebody that's going to actually, you know, take care of we the people.
you useless eaters. What?
Right.
Who?
So then you see this, it's 130,000 pages, and you look at that next paragraph. It says he receives 130,000 pages of new material, with 492,000 pages more to come. Really? 622,000 pages? Start releasing some of this so that we can all have a chance to go through it and read it. Put it on our audio so we can listen to it, whatever. However, I want the 600,000 pages.
Oh, well, I don't think you'd want that. This is all, like, just raw material. It's not like official papers.
Unredacted bullshit. It doesn't show us proof that this is legit. That's what I'm getting at. Even if I don't read the 600,000 pages, because dang well it would take forever, I want to see proof that these 600,000 pages actually do exist. And it's not just special counsel John Durham coming up and pulling some crap out of his ass. So then it says, in the update, the Sussman prosecution, Durham said no less than 3 times that his team is conducting a thorough investigation covering more than just Sussman. Okay. Durham is getting these documents from the FBI Internal Affairs file. This could lead to conspiracy charges if Durham can show coordination in the effort to drive Trump from office after having failed to rob him of... I mean... I have to kind of watch myself on what I'm actually reading out here and what I'm actually saying. Because, you know, they're now saying that it could lead to a conspiracy charges if Durham shows coordination in the effort. So, I mean... What side of it is conspiracy?
Only the side that matters to the globalists. At that point, there's conspiracy everywhere. Right?
Right? For so long, I've believed, like many others, that Durham was a dud. But now, I find myself second-guessing that belief. And that's not my thoughts. This is this guy's thoughts. As more and more court filings are piling up and taking a large swath of people who could be drug into the investigation, as more documents are acquired by a special counsel. We know Joe Biden suggested that Michael Flynn, under the Espionage Act, he probably attended other meetings as well. What did he know or do? Really? We know Joe Biden suggested that General Michael Flynn, under the Espionage Act. What? It's not even a complete sentence. I can't even draw a thought off of it. This article's a bunch of hooey.
Well, you know.
What the hell?
Orange Man is bad. That's all you need to know.
I'm more interested in these pages of material. Where are they coming from? How are they getting this material? Who's sitting down and just writing out random 600,000 pages of stuff? And why are we not being told about it? Why are we being... Fuck off. That's all I have to say about it. Seriously. Aw. Really? Showing a black screen in the background? There it is. Didn't realize my flag was down.
You let the flag go down?
Yeah, right. Stop it. So, let's move on to some world news. Oh, that's what we were doing. Ha!
Chi-coms.
So this says Japan, Taiwan militaries on alert as China flotilla heads to Pacific. The 8-vessel flotilla is the largest Leonine carrier group in recent voyages. Really? China's going to just go and throw this big, huge ship out in the middle of the water? It's kind of interesting look to it. Got some airplanes and a couple of boats that go along with it. So the Japanese and Taiwan militaries have been put on alert after the Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy flotilla, led by the Leonine aircraft carrier, was spotted sailing from the East China Sea towards the Pacific Ocean. They're like, oh, let's bring our military might out a little further. Maybe they don't want the boats to be close to their own territory, sitting in the South China Sea. Not that they can't put boats out in the middle of the ocean. But if I was Japan and Taiwan, yeah, I'd totally be like, wait a minute. Where are you going? We had an eye on that boat sitting in the South China Sea. Japan Self-Defense Forces Joint Staff Office released a statement on Monday saying that the Leonine, accompanied by 7 destroyers and supply vessels, had left the East China Sea, not the South China Sea, the East China Sea, and passed through waters between Japan's Okinawa and Miyako Islands before entering the West Pacific. So it actually floated up in between a couple of Japanese islands. I bet they were on immediate alert. Oh, there's this big boat coming through. The Japanese Defense Ministry dispatched the Ismo light aircraft carrier as well as a P-1 maritime patrol aircraft and P-3C anti-submarine aircraft to monitor the activities of the Chinese ships. So Japan's on top of that. They're like, nah, you're going to go and float this boat out there? Okay, we're going to go and float a couple of boats out, and we're going to actually keep an eye on you. That way we know what happens when it happens in real time. Oops, a little too far maybe. Okay, there it is. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, Taiwanese military spokesman Sun Li Fang told reporters that Taiwan's military closely monitors Chinese military maneuvers in waters and airspace surrounding Taiwan and would take appropriate response measures. According to the Japanese statement, among 7 warships in the Liaoning carrier group were the Type 055 large guided missile destroyer Nanchang and Type 052D guided missile destroyer Chengdu and a Type 901 comprehensive supply ship Halunhu. So I mean, there's multiple boats with multiple different missiles that they, I mean, put it out in the middle of the ocean, just makes it even closer to us and anybody else that they decide that they want to actually go and attack. With a total of 8 vessels, this is the largest carrier group in recent voyages. The newspaper said it is likely that the Liaoning and other ships were to take part in a routine PLA Navy Far Sea exercise. Just a Far Sea exercise, like the United States does. The United States has boats sitting everywhere around the world in random spots and places. They're just going to go check some stuff out and go move around. It quoted an anonymous military analyst as predicting that the Chinese ship could go further east into the Pacific Ocean, or they could transit through the Bashi Channel south of the island of Taiwan and conduct exercises in the South China Sea. So they don't really know where they're going, and they're just going to keep an eye on them, and they're going to be like, they took an eye out of their head, and it's well planted on these boats and where they're going. In one of the photos released by the Japanese military, the only Chinese first aircraft carrier was carrying a number of J-15 fighter jets as well as Z-8 and Z-9 helicopters. This is the first time this year that the carrier group passed the so-called first island chain that includes Taiwan and Japan to enter the Pacific Ocean. This is the first time this year. So do they do this on random other years? Are we really concerned? Because, we have interests in Taiwan and Japan as well as everywhere else in the world, because, we're the United States. Why don't we have interest in all that? Last December, the aircraft carrier and 5 other vessels conducted drills in the Yellow Sea, the East China Sea, and the West Pacific for 21 days in order to boost its combat capabilities. Chinese naval movements in the close proximity of Taiwan have always been closely watched by the Taiwanese military and islands Ministry of Defense said. The ministry's spokesman, Sun Li Fang, said Taiwan has response plans based on possible actions by China. So, I mean, depending on what they decide to do, to practice what they're doing, Taiwan just might jump on that, or right out and be like, oh, wait a minute, you can't do that. The Liaoning regularly patrols the Taiwan Strait and may be deployed in the event of armed conflict with the self-governing island. China considers Taiwan a breakaway province that shall be united with the mainland. It's not secret the Taiwanese Navy is totally overmatched by the PLA Navy. And sadly, I don't see the United States actually stepping up anything to help out Taiwan in any way, shape, or form. I really just don't see it happening. I think they're just going to be like, yeah, well, it's been part of China forever, so it's just part of China, that little island. Last year, for example, China commissioned some combined 170,000 tonnage of new warships. This is more than the combined Taiwan's fleet and reflects Chinese additions in just 1 year. Taiwan can't hope to compete with this, so it has been concentrating on vessels that will give it some asymmetric advantages. Arthur's adding to examples including the homemade Tao Chang class corvette and the indigenous defense submarine. Yet, it's still some years till the island's navy is fully capable to counter any blockade or invasion attempt by China. That's good to know, that it's going to take a possible couple years until, Taiwan can actually defend itself. Do you think China's going to wait the couple years? I really don't.
Well, I mean, the Taiwanese government is the actual free China government, because in the communist revolution that went on in China, funded and, done all by Rockefellers, allegedly, right? When that all happened, the free China left for Taiwan. And ever since then, free China has been in Taiwan. And then in the 70s, we recognized the communist Chinese as China and the Taiwanese as just Taiwan, or just that island that might be a part of China. But technically speaking, the island of Taiwan is the free Chinese government that left for that island and has then settled there and has taken up root there ever since. And of course now they've just become Taiwan because they don't obviously have the power to overrun China again or anything like that. So they've just kind of settled with, well, guess we're Taiwan now. So that's what it is with that. That's the deal with the Taiwanese government, and that's what makes it a little bit different from, say, Russia and Ukraine. But and then of course also, I mean, so much manufacturing comes out of that area to America that you could make a better argument for our influence in that kind of a conflict than in Russia, but at the same time, I really don't want any conflict like that, and I would rather us build things here, but we don't. So I guess you could say it's a bit of a complex issue, but there you go.
Yeah. So then, I guess we'll just kind of move on a little bit here. So this was also from yesterday, May 4th. This is from the RT. It says Bill Gates issues warning on Elon Musk. Microsoft founder says Tesla chief could fail to censor misinformation on Twitter after takeover.
No shit.
Really?
You mean after he posted a picture of you as the pregnant man emoji? Bill Gates, a little salty there after that hot take there, Bill Gates, Mr. Pregnant Gates, little salty.
It looks like he's ready to cry.
He's probably crying those crocodile tears of joy.
So it says
he's been doing allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. So it says Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates is bracing for potential trouble when fellow billionaire Elon Musk completes his acquisition of Twitter, saying that free speech advocate could make misinformation more prevalent by failing to properly police comment on the social media platform. He actually could make it worse, Gates says.
By allowing freedom of speech. Yep.
He added that the South African has a mind-blowing track record of building successful businesses at Tesla and SpaceX by being bolder than the competitors and really showing them up. Yeah, that's what it is. It's exactly what it is, because you know what's going on, right, Bill? Mr. Gates, you just know everything.
It sounds like he's trying to like partially flatter him and then go off and be like, it's very passive aggressive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that sort of, like, oh, I don't really not like him, but then like, passively go off and be like, he can't censor this because, it could lead to all kinds of misinformation about lots of things. Pertaining to my jabs as well, I might not make as much money from my jabs as I'd like to, but anyway, I'm not pregnant. That is not true. That was several months ago. That is misinformation on a large scale. But you really have to take a look at that. You really have to take a hard look. I don't know if Musk can really do that. Anyway.
No, you're fine. Keep going.
Oh, well, what do you mean? We're gonna listen. We're gonna listen to the Antichrist's right hand man here, right?
Yes. Ready?
Do you think that misinformation should be actively repressed by social media platforms? They should be making these judgments, or are you more the view of an Elon Musk that it should be more of a free debate?
I do think that people who own platforms have a role there, and eventually the platforms tried to play that role. It was kind of too late, and when you don't have the trusted leaders, speaking out about vaccines, it's pretty hard for the platform to work against that.
It's
so
about
I think we have a leadership problem, and we have a platform problem.
So do you have any advice for Elon Musk? As he buys Twitter?
I would write Elon to make sure my jab gets into
he
everybody.
Could make it worse. That's not his track record.
Worse.
I mean, his track record with Tesla and SpaceX is pretty mind-blowing at putting together a great team of engineers and, taking the people who work in those fields in a less bold way and really showing them up. I kind of doubt that'll happen this time, but we should have an open mind and never underestimate Elon. What's his goal? Where he talks about the openness. How does he feel about something that says vaccines kill people, or that Bill Gates is is that one of the things he thinks he spread?
Whoa.
It's still
rewind this like 10 seconds just so that we can like bask in this total self-awareness but yet smirking at you.
Something that says vaccines kill people, or that Bill Gates is tracking people. Is that one of the things he thinks should be spread? So it's still not totally
what's
clear.
What's wrong with that, Bill Gates? You think that, like every single thing he says that he should track misinformation on is about him and people saying things about him.
Right. He's concerned about his
are you
own
concerned
stuff.
about yourself
that
there,
Bill Gates
Mr.
is tracking people. Is that one of the things he thinks should be spread? So it's
Are you
still,
concerned?
it's
Do you
not
have
totally
concerns?
clear what he's going to do.
Is big risks with a platform like that that's so pivotal for speech and ideas in society a good idea?
It's possible that because he took big risks in SpaceX and Tesla. They both were in periods of financial stress where he went full speed ahead.
As he's shaking his head no the whole time he's saying this. He doesn't even believe it himself, what he's actually saying. Look at him.
Financial stress where he went full speed ahead and came through that. The fact that he didn't buy Twitter to make money means that if there's something great that can be done, if all you need is money and hiring great engineers, he's probably as good a person as any. Or his goals for what it ends up being doesn't match this idea of less extreme falsehood spreading so quickly, weird conspiracy theories. Does he share that goal or not?
Weird conspiracy theories. Oh my God, I freaking love. I mean, he knows exactly what is being said. He knows exactly what's going. Well, of course he does, because he's doing it all. But like, I mean, it's just this thing of like, oh, we can't allow him to have free speech because he might say things bad about Bill Gates. He might allow people to put off emojis of me being pregnant and me having giant boobs and, like arrest Bill Gates and things it's a really bad thing we have to look at. Like,
Conspiracy theories. Does he share that goal or not? I thought that just human judgment would work. And so far, at least under the stress of the pandemic, that hasn't stopped the crazy stuff from getting out and kind of resonating with people in terms of it's a much simpler explanation to say that, this person started the pandemic than that there's this weird thing in biology where viruses.
But talking of crazy stuff, he's tweeted about you recently a little bit. I mean, how do you...
He just can't stop
a little
talking
bit
about it.
He's tweeted about you a little bit. Yeah,
Wait,
we know what that little bit is.
Yeah.
A little bit. I mean, how do you...
A little bit.
About you recently a little bit. I mean, how...
A little bit of a bump.
He's
there.
tweeted about you recently a little bit, like this little emoji guy that has a big pregnant belly,
A little bit of a baby bump there.
That doesn't bother me.
And are you...
it doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother me.
Bullshit. You lying
he just instantly, he just snaps back at it like, oh, it doesn't bother me. It's like, oh, right, it totally bothers you. That whole, oh my God. Oh my God.
That doesn't bother me.
That doesn't bother me.
And are
That
you
doesn't
shorting
bother
Tesla?
you.
I mean,
Oh, it
that's his
doesn't.
sort of underlying...
Oh my God. I mean, think
Tesla,
about this, right?
that's
Like
his
somebody
sort of
says something to you and then somebody just turns and snaps at you like, it doesn't bother me. No, it does bother me. No. Do you think that bothers that person? It totally bothers that person. Like, we're all dumbasses.
I mean, how do you respond
That
to
doesn't bother me.
And are you shorting
No,
Tesla?
no,
I mean, that's
no.
his sort of underlying concern.
It's possible that the stock went down and whoever shorted the stock made money. I don't know.
Again, he's sitting there shaking his head no the whole damn time. He doesn't even believe a word that's coming out of his own mouth.
Did it
That's
go
not-
down in the last month?
I have not
don't
been
know.
following Tesla stock. It goes
I
up and
don't.
down.
I don't think whether one's short or long Tesla is a statement about your seriousness about climate change. I'm putting billions of dollars.
Wait a minute. Rewind that.
No, I am. That's why I'm like, wait
Hold
a
on
minute
a
here.
second.
What is he saying?
Is he saying that
About
Tesla...
your seriousness about climate change. I'm putting billions of dollars into climate change innovation. I applaud.
You're
No,
putting
rewind it
billions
farther
of
than that.
dollars into climate change innovation.
Yeah.
Really?
But I want to hear what he says. It's like Tesla. Like, what's he saying?
Dollars into climate change innovation.
No,
I applaud
back further.
Tesla.
Like he says something like regarding to Tesla, and then
I don't think whether one's short or long Tesla is, a statement about your seriousness about climate change. I'm putting billions of dollars into climate change innovation. I applaud Tesla's role in helping with climate change. And, I have nothing but positive things to say about Elon.
So did he just sit there and say that just because you invest in Tesla and Tesla's growing, that doesn't mean that you support efforts to combat climate change, because I put in billions of dollars to combat climate change, so I mean, just this like passive aggressive crap and like trying to throw shit at Elon this entire time while sitting there going like, oh yes, I have nothing but praise for Tesla and whatever. Like hell, there's not something going on. By the way, this background here, this looks exactly like the World Government Summit background. I'll have to pull a picture of that up. You can play this, but I'm gonna pull a picture.
On Tesla is, a statement about your seriousness about climate change. I'm putting billions of dollars into climate change innovation. I applaud Tesla's role in helping with climate change. And, I have nothing but positive things to say about Elon.
Look at his face as he says, his eyes, he looks over to the side. He's trying to come up with something to say. Watch this.
And, I have nothing but positive things to say.
As he's shaking his head no, and he looks over to the side to think of what he wants. I have nothing but positive things to say about him. Liar. You're such a liar. We can see it. But there's nobody out there that's going to actually be like, oh my God, I'm the psychologist and I'm going to actually watch this guy.
But
I'm going to point it out.
Yeah, right.
Because he's Bill Gates. Who's going to talk against Bill Gates? I will, you piece of crap.
Say about Elon. If he makes Twitter worse, fine. I'll speak out about that. But I wouldn't assume that's what's going to happen.
Do you think that
By the way, here is
what's going to happen?
Where did that go?
What's going to happen?
Here we are.
Good stuff. Thank you to the Wall Street Journal for giving us that little blurb.
Oh my God, the Wall Street Journal can just burn. Here is the World Government Summit thing. The logo. Now, didn't that look like that background that was there? Color theme.
Yeah,
right?
it's got
it's
that
the same color. Right, like it's got like the bars that are going up from the sides and the white and the blue, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know if we can. We can't like. Oh, maybe we can. Yeah, it's down in the corner here. Watch. Leave that up.
Oh.
So then.
Crap! I just hit.
Oh, you're fine. So a little different, but yeah, still kind of. Obviously, you thought about it. It made you think that way.
Well, right. That was the first thing. I was like, well, this background is kind of weird. Like, what the hell does that background represent or whatever? And it's like, oh, that's what it is. It's the World Government Summit. I have it pulled back down.
So pretty much. Oh, sure.
Or however you were going to do that.
I was going to do this. I was going to go so you can
just
see
so you
what
can kind of see.
you can kind of see what the to show everybody else. You can kind of see what the difference between the two. You can kind of see these lines running.
And the color scheme too, right?
And
like
the colors, right? And then you kind of look at the World Government Summit, and you're like, I could see that, yeah.
There's that blue background. So.
Yeah, exactly. So then the rest of that article was pretty much the stuff that he had just said in that.
That is an amazing interview. That should be played back. I guarantee you, Mr. Emmerich Jones is going to play that back several times tomorrow.
Oh, and that's the thing is I've noticed this is a strange trend of things that every single time we do something here, somebody else does something tomorrow on the same stuff that we just did, and they're getting thousands and thousands of viewers.
Well, because they're on their own independent stuff most of the time.
Really didn't have much more. I mean, I guess we can kind of throw this in the mix just because we don't really need to talk about it because of the possible other things to go along with that, whatever. But they're still talking about, Russians and laptops, and the headline on that, you see that it says a man behind laptop sues media. Suing the media. He doesn't care about anybody in particular.
Well, no, it says he sues CNN.
Right, he's going after this is
CNN,
John Paul
Politico,
MacIsaac's
and Daily
lawsuit
Beast.
against Schiff, CNN, Politico, and the Daily Beast was filed on Tuesday in Montgomery County Circuit Court in Rockville, Maryland, seeking at least $1 million in actual damages and far more in punitive damages. $1 million. I'm not going to read the rest of the article because of what it is. We don't need to be spreading.
Oh yes, because
whatever information.
the Ministry of Truth Goblin lady said that it was that is Russian disinformation. So that's what we'll stick with, even though everybody else recognizes it's true. We'll go along with the Ministry of Truth because we're just that fancy here.
I really didn't have anything else. Oh, I did. I'm sorry. I did have one thing else. I forgot. Here, let's pull this fool up. The reason that I kept it for the last is because I was like, that's going to be the funny end.
Oh God, this.
This is Geraldo unloads on Gutfield and fight over abortion.
Geraldo
You
is
insulting punk. Geraldo's a freaking prick, dude.
Oh my God. I mean, he's just lost his shit the past freaking. I've seen so many clips of him going off on people. It's ridiculous. Over the past year or 2 years.
The arguments that he has with Dan Bongino are great. It's so funny.
Okay.
There's a fetal heartbeat law that will now be in
That's
place.
a different issue.
It will now be the law of the state of Ohio. And what am I going to tell my daughters now? That they don't have control over their body, that they can't make those choices for themselves, that some old man...
He's fine with the genocide of his own grandchildren.
Scratching his belly in some other state...
I'm sorry, did you?
Well, and plus on top of that, keep the context of this individual right here that you're looking at. This guy went down to Cuba and went and hung out with Castro for a long time. They all went around. They had a great time. They all had orgies. He went with an orgy with Castro and Pierre Trudeau's wife, which is Justin Trudeau's mother, and all the rest of that. That's how we kind of assume that Justin Trudeau isn't actually a Trudeau. He's actually a Castro, allegedly, right? Like this guy right here. He hung out with other individuals in America that were these, left-wing hack people.
Remember when Geraldo was fun to watch on TV? He actually did his own show.
I mean, you should hear him talking about having sexual relations with underage girls about how it was daring and this and that. I mean, like, he has books like written about this crap. Like, I mean, this individual is not a very good person. He's not a decent person at all. This person has a lot of problems in his past. Though he had a good image on TV there for a while, you go into himself and a little bit of personal life, and you go into some of his earlier career, and even in the midst of him being on TV and stuff as well, like, just, he's got a whole bunch of crap.
Thursday night episode, Geraldo Rivera. Oh.
So keep that kind of thing in mind. Like, this person who's okay with underage sex, it's not that big of a deal to him, you know, like, hangs out with Hugo Chavez. I think Hugo Chavez too. But specifically Fidel Castro, and they, like, have this giant orgy thing or whatever, blah, da, da, da. Writes books about it all, talks about it all. Thinks it's great, it's fine, it's wonderful. Right, you know, like, it's all great, you know, like, but
Let's see what's great and wonderful that he has to spew right now.
It's not. Amy Coney Barrett is not an old man scratching her.
I want to play the
7 old men did the Roe v. Wade decision. In case you forgot.
Yeah. Let's listen to some media responses to all of this, if we could, please.
The founding fathers didn't recognize abortion as a fundamental right because the founding fathers were racist, misogynist jerk faces. So that's the history.
Look at that guy.
Oh my God! I mean, we have to.
They're jerk faces.
Do we have to pretend that this person should be taken seriously? Holy hell! My God! Like, look at him. Like, he's this overweight. Like, look at the glasses.
He's an overweight black Colonel Sanders.
I mean, just like, what the hell? And he's like, oh, these jerk faces. Like, what the hell?
Right. He seriously calls them jerk faces.
Misogynist jerk faces. So that's the history that Sam Alito is accessing.
And honestly, at this point, I think we're all right to question the legitimacy of the court.
No one is safe. This overturning Roe will be a mass criminalization event.
So don't think this is just a war on women. It could be a war on people of color and gay people.
People of color? Abortion has been waging war on people of color ever since its inception.
Right.
Run by Margaret Sanger.
Right. You look at where all of the little places that these Planned Parenthoods are, and they're in freaking dark, dingy neighborhoods. Seriously. Have you been to a Planned Parenthood ever?
But to quote that evil eugenicist witch, she said that we need to have abortions and things because we need to exterminate the black race. And they have been successfully keeping blacks a very big minority, and well, not very big minority, what am I saying? Keeping them a minority in this country. They should be double of what their population is, but because every one of their children that they have just gets taken to the Planned Parenthood facility and slaughtered, you know. But what the hell? Let's just keep playing pretend here, you bunch of cultist, satanist freaks. I mean, and that's what this is. Like, this is like a cult to them, and they just like go batshit because they can't have their child sacrificed anymore. It's like this blood ritual that they think gives them power. It's like, oh my God, and they're like going batshit and they're just losing their minds.
So don't think this is just a war on women. It could be a war on people of color and gay people.
And gay people.
All right, Greg, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this, I think, before this show yesterday or the break, but this is why pro-lifers win, because they can state their case so plainly. Yeah. You ask somebody why they're pro-life, they will say, because abortion takes a life, and we believe life is sacred. You can disagree with that, but you can't disagree with the simplicity of it, right? But the problem with the pro-choicers is that they don't have the balls to state their case plainly. Just say, like, I prefer freedom over fetuses. Don't sit here and come up with all of these other things like it's going to be interracial marriage next.
My body, my choice. How much simpler can you get?
Let me finish. You already did your ad hominem. People We were talking about this. Yeah, you insulted a few people there. We talked about this. People are more concerned about what they lose than what they will gain, because you don't have to imagine loss. All you got to do is talk to somebody who lost a child, but you can't. You don't have to imagine it, and it's there forever. A pro-choice mom can look at her adorable 2-year-old and think, my life would be nothing without her in 2022. In 2017, when she was young and single, didn't have a kid, she could only imagine the loss of her freedom, right? So that's the issue. The issue here is that people need to imagine, right? They can't step back and see how pro-choice arguments are driven by a refusal to imagine what that baby could be. But then when that baby bees, then suddenly it changes, right? And then they have to create reasons. They have to create all these reasons to be pro-choice, rather than just be honest and say, yeah, it kills an unborn kid, but I prefer my freedom. That's all you got to say. You'll get so much more respect. The other thing that drives me crazy, now that I'm on my soapbox,
the thing is, you won't,
is it used to be even...
You're admitting that you're committing child sacrifice. Like, that's exactly what this is. Like, just go to an idol of Moloch and just kill the kid. Like, that's basically what you're doing at this point. And then, of course, you can go on and on about all the different things of, like, the post-birth abortion, or, the baby's considered to be aborted. If you go into a Planned Parenthood, they give birth to the child and they take the child off, and, they do different things to it, whatever. Allegedly, right? So, I mean, you can go on and on about that, but they're not going to get any respect.
I gotta find that footage of that guy that goes and explains how they actually remove body parts from a woman as they actually abort a child that's over so many months.
Even the pro-choicers would admit that abortion was an ugly thing, but they felt it had to be a necessary evil, something that would be safe and rare. That was the argument you always heard. Yeah. But now, when you go anywhere on social media, it's something to celebrate, to cherish, right? The unborn to shout.
That's baloney.
No, well,
that's baloney.
I'll give you evidence.
The wire hanger stuck up their privates, trying to get what? Come on.
The unborn child.
Come on. That's
the unborn child becomes
before Roe.
This is exactly what I expected. They bring out the old coat hanger.
You are arrogant.
Go for it, Geraldo. Come on, keep going.
Okay, Joey.
You're making a fool of yourself.
On this.
Don't you? You know something? What? You insulting punk.
Okay.
Oh.
You insulting punk, because that's the best you can come up with. You're a pile of crap that has worthless thoughts, and you're gonna go and you're gonna call this guy out for his thoughts, that he should actually, that life begins at conception.
I mean, and like just this whole thing of like, oh my God, like women are like constantly rolling around on the ground, like sticking things up themselves to kill their kid. It's like, I mean, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, first off, what the hell? Like, nobody saw that. That wasn't happening before this. And number two, if it was in an area that's kind of demented, like, it's kind of evil, actually. Like, oh, I just went off and like decided to have sex with somebody, and then I have a kid. Well, that's okay. I'm just gonna stick the. But see that's more brutal and more brutally honest. Of like, I just want to kill my kid. I'm gonna stick things up and like try to destroy myself and my kid in the process. Like, oh well, that's just more brutally honest than saying like, oh, I'm going for a quote unquote procedure and quote unquote health care, right? I mean, what he said is like just brutally like. Oh, so that, I mean, because that's what's happening, but it's just with fancier equipment. It's just like, it's just utter destruction. It's death. And they worship it. But anyways.
What, am I your new Bongino?
Go. If you want that role.
Joey,
go.
All right. You've sat here so patiently, Joey.
I don't have anything important to say, but I know it's more important than anything's about to come from either side right here, right now.
Okay.
All right, listen. The original court case, what a lot of people don't understand is under the premise of privacy, the Supreme Court went.
Yeah, that guy's kind of funny to me.
Well, they cut him off anyway.
Fox News is failing anyway. It's all like going to crap. Tucker Carlson's the only thing that's keeping it afloat. If Tucker Carlson wasn't there, that whole place would go to shit in a heartbeat.
But pretty much all the verbiage that's in here is actually what was on the video. There's nothing extra that's written in the article.
Yes, the Daily Beast. God. Anywho's.
Right, exactly. They just went and they're like, oh, let's just listen to what this is, and we'll just put up the exact words that they actually say, and then, call it good. Everybody should actually go check out AmericaShirtsAreFirst.com.
Yes, you can check out the site, but it is not going to be functional. So if anybody wants to get something, you aren't going to be able to for right now. Because, as I said a couple videos ago, I'm doing some updates of stuff, and I'm having to switch around t-shirt providers and things, and stuff. Yeah, stuff of that nature. So, and I have to change some other things on the website itself. So. Nothing is going to be functional for a little bit, maybe or a little while, I guess. Now that I think about it, maybe like a week, 2 weeks, something like that. So somewhere in there, because like I said, I have to do some things. So I'm just giving myself that time. It might be less than that, but in case anybody that is listening, you're like, oh, I really like this today. I want to go. It's like, well, keep that bookmarked, go back to it later. I'll whenever we do these videos and things, I'll tell you whenever I'm done with the updates and other different things that I'm doing for the site. So I'm not going to officially advertise myself. I'm just going to say you should bookmark it, AmericaShirtsAreFirst.com. Come back to it later, because it is not functional right now.
What you don't have to wait until later for? Rumble.
Oh yeah, totally. Go check that out and find out what's going on with Russia and Ukraine. That's the thing that I have posted right now. I haven't been able to post anything else because I've been busy. But yeah, go check those out.
As you should be. I mean, we're going into spring. Anybody that hasn't already started to plant their gardens should actually start thinking about doing so.
At least plant something. 10% of listen, if you can get 10% of your food from yourself, from pots. From potted plants, even, for crying out loud, not even sticking them in the ground, just potted plants. Like, if you can get 10% of your food from there, that's still a pretty significant amount of calories you can get for yourself. So you freaking live. I mean, for crying out loud, if you grew a tomato plant, at least you can have a tomato sandwich for lunch or for the day. If you ran out of food,
if you have no bread and you just have the tomato, it works too. You can actually just bite into it, give it a little rinse, bite into it like an apple, and devour that bad boy. You'd be surprised how pleased you'd be with yourself if you actually planted something, grew it, and then were able to feed yourself with it.
Right. So it's a good idea to do some things like that for yourself. Pots in the ground in your backyard, wherever, Don't grow a bunch of bulbs and flowers, even though those are nice and good. You can plant some. Don't waste all your money on that kind of thing. Try to get food and learn how to cultivate your own food. At least 10% of your food intake, you should probably try and learn how to grow at least 10% yourself. At the very least, that's a good idea to do something like that. So, anyways, but yeah, there you go. A little bit of advice there at the end of the video.
Yeah, I mean, we're at an hour 48 minutes. Anybody that is out there that's still listening should actually go and check out buymeacoffee.com/Koolfrogg. That's the easiest way to support me right now. Otherwise, give me a sub, follow us, let us know how you feel, leave us some comments. If you decide that you actually sub to this channel and you want to have regular daily conversations with us, you can actually come talk to one of us and we'll get you a Discord link. You can come join us for daily conversations, and you get daily conversations with people like Mike. Conversations that are very in-depth and very, very fun to have. And it's not always the same stuff. We don't always just talk about whatever. Sometimes we talk about the games that we're playing. Sometimes we talk about other things.
Sometimes we talk about Bill Gates.
Right?
In some not so very YouTube friendly ways. If you know what I mean.
All that being,
Yes.
yeah. That being said, thank you for watching.
It's just a terrible thing. Should probably reduce that quite a bit.
I really like this
slightly.
clip. This new clip that I got is just the best. I love this one.
Back to them, or do you want to stay with Donald Trump?
Fuck Joe Biden.
It makes me want to dance.
Oh my god.
Just makes me want to dance. A winning dance.
Oh God.
All right. See you later, everybody.
Later, babes.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.